there was a big news story about one of my favourite topics. I love to talk about it. It's obviously JKS, right? And I don't know if you caught it, but there's been a little bit of a drama there because Sponge, who is, of course, a personal friend of JKS, has a podcast that's now no longer paid for by Saudi Arabian interests. And on that podcast, he said G2 have mistreated JKS for all of these reasons. There's been sort of a big brouhaha about it because obviously we all know how the community feel about JKS. They're convinced he's one of the best players in the world because there's clearly just a lot of closeted guys that follow CS and can't sort of get past the fact that, just because he's kind of an above average looking dude, it doesn't make him a great player, really. I know it's kind of weird, but people are having a tough time with it. Aussie fans are weirdos in general anyway, so I mean that sort of does it. But anyway, so I thought we'd get into all of that. I'll just take you back. I remember when the news of the benching came through at the start of the month. It was very early November. Chad did this. He put this little tweet out and said, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. Now, what's hilarious about this is the idea as if Chad was going to ever avoid speaking about JKS. I mean, one of the things that I find super interesting is, this is how you know Reddit are just filled with biased plebs, right? Whenever Yanko says anything about Nico, or Kassad says anything about Nico, what are they? They are Nico dick riders. Get off Nico's dick. Nico's the problem in G2, you fucking losers. Why all you talk about on the desk is fucking Nico. Oh, yeah, you're friends with Nico. Yeah, you fucking... Right. It's just nonsense. Like, literally, I read hundreds of comments like that whenever they make a point, about like, well, we think G2 might be better like this, or we think Nico would be better suited like this. It's just all about, how they're assholes. Yet at no point in Sponge's career, his post-playing career, where he's sort of like literally gone out of his way to leverage his influence to sort of help JKS or acting as an unofficial PR spokesperson for JKS. No one ever calls Sponge out about it. Super weird. Whenever Thorin goes on one of his like weird, I think Kenny S could still play moments, people, you're just a Kenny S dick rider, man. Why isn't Sponge a JKS dick rider? Can anyone answer me that? Can anyone explain to me why Sponge isn't the ultimate JKS dick rider? Like, keep in mind, when he was on the fucking bench at Complexity, it was Sponge that was, like, going all out of his fucking, like, literally bending over backwards behind the scenes to sort of get JKS to be the stand-in for FaZe when that opportunity presented itself. So, I'm really perplexed. But also, this framing, as if Sponge wasn't going to speak about JKS. I mean, you've never done that at any point in your career. You've never done that. Since somebody handed you a microphone instead of a mouse, the one thing we can guarantee you're going to talk about is, well, why anything that lines your fucking nest with money, and obviously the incredible adventures of JKS, the world's most misunderstood player. So he said that, and I knew it was coming. So anyway, Ryan Friend, obviously is the editor of Dust 2, he did a tweet saying, this podcast said something, which is like a throwback to his days when he was at Rush B Media, when things I said on my podcast were published as factual stories, despite them being prefaced that they were pure speculation. But, it's editorial, it's tough, I suppose. But anyway, he did a tweet saying, this is what was said in this episode, and highlighted the JKS stuff. And so I'll bring this up and you can listen to what Sponge had to say about how the JKS move sort of ended up happening.
I actually have no idea what I was going to say, to be honest.
That's all right. I'll go to Justin now, because Justin's the opposite of what you were saying, Yanko, like in the sense that, like, for Dexter, maybe the best option he could get is like a Sprout or a TSM or something along those lines. Whereas Justin, if I don't know which team, right, he could go to, because I look and it looks pretty bleak.
Well, hang on a second,
still think he's got
you can't like just fucking go into that. You have to start from the beginning. You have to give us your thoughts on what the fuck happened and what the fuck is G2 doing.
I don't really care what G2 are doing. G2 can get fucked. The thing that is bullshit about it, I don't really care about them replacing him. Go for it. That's all good, right?
That part's a lie. Definitely does care about him being replaced, but whatever, academic really.
The thing that gets cited, and you see people talking about it, is, oh, okay, he's not vocal enough. You're in a team with fucking Hunter, Nico, and you've got Monacy running around with an AWP. Well, you want everyone to have an opinion all the time, do you? I think Justin's biggest thing was probably that, there were certain areas where he could contribute more within rounds, but he, didn't want to or didn't take the initiative to do so. And that's probably the thing that the team were hoping to get a bit more of. I don't think Nex is a bad replacement.
Now, you'll notice here as well, immediate glossing over of something that he clearly knows, right? What he said there is, I don't know if the team wanted him to do more, or he could have, they were looking for him to contribute more in terms of mid-round calls or communications. I don't really know about any of that. Clearly does know about that. What I do know is, now let's talk about Nexa. And so immediately, I can read between the lines. These moves don't happen in isolation. There's a reason why you cut JKS. Now, it could be his performance. As I said, I think he plays the anchor position, so it's a very unforgiving position. I think we're in a new game anyway, so I wouldn't have cut him. I wouldn't have cut him in CS2. I would wait and see what happens and see if he gets a similar bump that certain other players that didn't perform well in CSGO have got. Like, for example, JT is suddenly a competent player in CS2. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on what's changed, but I would have waited to see if this was going to happen for Hooksy and JKS. I would have waited. So I wouldn't have cut him. But what I do know is that there's this weird thing, and it was repeated again on the HLTV Confirmed podcast the other day, and it seems to be that somehow, by virtue of Nico staying with G2, they just couldn't afford JKS anymore, and so they went to Nexa and got a downgrade. I don't know why this narrative is being peddled, unless people know something I don't. But I don't think it would have worked like that at all. That doesn't make sense to me. You don't say, okay, we're paying Nico so much now, we're going to just cut this player because we literally can't afford to keep him. Which, by the way, that would have been shades of what happened in Complexity. But I'd like to think Complexity and G2 are on a different financial level in terms of the salaries that they can afford and stuff. But anyway, the bottom line is, what that part says to me is that, yes, they wanted something from JKS they weren't getting, and so they decided to bring in a player, and you will notice, just so happens to be someone who is more communicative because he's done mid-round calling, he's been in IGL, he's coming off the back of being in IGL, in OG, he was in IGL in this team, previously working with Hunter and Nico. So I don't know why we're going to just gloss over that. And this is why the title of the stream is He Cannot Fail, He Can Only Be Failed. There's only 3 people in the world that we say this about. We say it about Jesus. We say it about Joe Biden. He can't fail. He's fucking bananas, isn't he? He doesn't know where he is, but he can't fail. He can only be failed by other people. You've seen that in the media. And the other person, of course, is JKS. JKS can't fail. JKS can't have been dropped for any reason relating to him. So what we're all doing is we are doing this weird little thing where going only off what Sponge says, which is by proxy only what JKS says. We're going to get to the bottom of this great big mystery. And yes, you will notice that's the 3 J's. The 3 J's of people who cannot fail, but only be failed. Jesus, Joe, and JKS. So let's listen, right? We're gonna get into some next talk, and then he comes back to G2's handling of the roster move.
By any stretch of the imagination, I wouldn't like to be Hooksy in that team, to be completely honest with anybody playing at home. I think I'd just be looking at the clock every day going,
yeah, you're like,
I get
it's
another
just
day.
a matter of time
day
between Nexa decides he wants to in-game lead a little bit,
Yeah. Or he gets told by Nico he is, You know what? Actually, here's another thing that I... No, but this one pissed me off. This one's another one that got my feckles up. When Nico goes, how much power do people think I have in this team? Hey, mate, you're the one who were going to go to Falcons, and then you decided you wanted to come back to G2, and then changes happened in G2. I'm not saying that Nico is the one who decided to make the changes, but to say that you don't have power as one of the absolute star players, one of the franchise Counter-Strike names, one of the most well-known Counter-Strike players, of course you do. You have power. You're not the one making the decisions. I'm not saying he's judge, jury, and executioner by any stretch, but like what Nico says holds a whole lot more weight than what a Hooksy or a JKS or a fucking Swanee in that team says. right? Like what Nico says is the most important shit. And again, not saying that he, advocated for these changes or anything along those lines or decided even who to bring in. I'm just saying that what Nico wants, Nico's probably going to fucking get. And that's just what happens when you're a superstar.
Now, this is all a valid point, by the way, but I'm still not seeing any evidence that Nico was the driving factor in Nexa coming in and JKS going out. There's absolutely nothing to suggest this wasn't a team decision involving the coach, involving management. There's nothing to suggest that it was done purely at Nico's behest. So it's just a very weird framing of it.
You're in that position to have Falcons coming after you. They're headhunting. They want to be able to pick you up as a player for their team, right? He's in the best position. Whereas other players in a lot of these rosters, they're not in that same position. They don't have people coming after them to try and pick them up. You're in the driver's seat. So to read that, like, I understand what he's saying. Like he's saying, I'm not the one making the decision, sure, but you're the one with all the influence. You're the one that everybody wants to play with. Imagine getting the opportunity to play with Nico. Like, that would be amazing. That would be a fucking awesome experience to get to play with one of the absolute best Counter-Strike players to ever do it. So, like, that right there, yeah, I get what he was saying, but that was kind of my view on it. But yeah, the G2 thing, the thing that pissed me off is, so the leak comes out about Justin being benched. G2 don't announce anything for 2 weeks, right? I guess at that point the news is already out there, but then they wrap the fucking the announcement of him being benched into the same time with Nexa joining the team. Put it out early so the kid can at least try and explore some of his prospects and options before everybody starts battening down the hatches with the major cycle. Imagine if the shit didn't get leaked and they helped.
So this is again another like crazy argument. Like, I'm all for like calling out orgs when they mistreat players. But so the rumors are floating around that JKS is benched, right? Okay, cool. But you will notice at that time when the rumors came out, it was like, oh, JKS is being benched, Nexa might be coming in, Madden might be coming in, it might be a twofer with Hooksy going out. It's very clear to me, by the way, that G2... it wasn't a 100% thing with Nexa. Like, it looks to me, based on the chronology of how everything happened, they wanted to get Nexa over the line contractually because they might have talked to one or two other players before Nexa. Because if for any reason they didn't get Nexa in or they didn't get a replacement player in, well, you're bringing JKS back. JKS would have been playing at the next tournament. So, like, why would you commit to saying JKS is 100% out of the team before you've got his replacement coming in? So I think that's like a very unreasonable criticism. I get it, as we'll get to. They could have maybe allowed him to explore his options sooner, and they could have put people on notice sooner, maybe. I don't think they're under any obligation to do that as a team, by the way. But certainly that's like a weird criticism. It's like, yeah, look, they're going to announce his benching when they've got his replacement over the line. That's generally the best way to do things. It's the safest way to do things.
Held on to it until the Nexa deal was done. You add another 2 weeks on top of that before the guy could even start searching and looking for things. That's what I think is bullshit. That's what I don't like. And I have a decent understanding of what was going on behind the scenes. They weren't even fucking talking to Justin for weeks at a time after Sydney. He was messaging the management of the team and nobody was fucking replying to him. He's in Australia right now and he was trying to work out when he had to get back to Europe for practice and his manager was ghosting him for weeks at a time. That's what I think is fucking bullshit. And that's what I think is just amateur fucking hour. That is dog shit. That is how shit was done back in the day. If you're looking at changes and he's one of the names, have the gall to say, hey, Justin, right now we're exploring our options. We don't know if you're part of the future plans, but we'll let you know when we have something to share. Don't go fucking quiet and do what we used to do and message people on Steam and have all these background conversations. Then one day a guy's cut. That's what we did 10, 15 years ago. We're talking about a professional organization, one of the most well-known Counter-Strike brands that you have got, and not Counter-Strike, esport brands going around, and the manager is ghosting one of the players. What the fuck are we talking about?
Now, I'll just say here, I don't know the ins and outs of what happened on this front. But I'll also say, I've heard players say they've been ghosted so many times down the years. And what they mean is, we attempted to reach out to one person once and didn't get a reply in a week. And, you know, addressing my specific concerns. And so lots can happen there like that, right? Like, so for example, let's say the management he's reaching out to isn't the person making the decision about the roster. Say he's reaching out to the coach and a general manager above him making the calls. Well, that person you reach out to can't give you a definitive answer. They've got to go up the chain. So they go up the chain. And understand, the bigger the org, the more moving parts there are. And so I don't know if JKS was going to the right person, going to multiple people. That's not clear from what Chad is saying. But what I will say is, you're back in Australia. You're obviously wanting to know when you need to come back to Europe so you can meet with the team and get practicing again. It's like, at the end of the day, how long does it need to be? I mean, personally, once the rumours are out there, I think the org probably should reach out to the player and say, look, these rumours are circulating. We don't know where the leak's coming from. There are some truth to them. We are looking at our options, and we don't know if you're going to be in the team moving forward. But to Sponge's point, that would in no way enable Justin to look at his options, because it's not a definitive, we're 100% going to bench you. So, again, I get it. It sucks that this player has sort of been cut in a way that's limited his options to get on another team. But I feel like this just happens all the time. He's saying that's how it was done 10 to 15 years ago. Didn't we just have players this year say they found out they were cut because of fucking news posts? So, I don't know, guys. Maybe ghosting someone isn't the worst. I'm just saying.
Absolute bullshit, man. That right there, I don't care about what issues they had with Justin, why they wanted to get rid of him, why they didn't see eye to eye, whatever it is. That's fine. Replace him. I don't give a fuck. Go nuts. Don't treat people like that, especially in a professional environment. That is bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. And that is the thing that irks me. Anyway, as you can tell, I don't really care.
No, I think you're. No,
that's
you're
absolutely fucked up. That should never happen, especially in today's day and age. Especially with an organization like G2, you just can't be doing that.
I mean, yeah, you really can't be doing that regardless of whatever organization. Just being able to tell someone who's trying to organize their fucking life. Who's just trying to figure shit out and make sure that he's because I know probably got a girlfriend back in Europe, got a whole apartment and set up that he's got to get back to but you just got shit going on, so that's a bit wild from G2.
I'm sure he's enjoying having a bit of extra time at home.
Yeah, I bet he's
professional career.
Yeah, that part's hard, having that professional side hanging over your head, because that's just a constant level of stress.
I think it's just a fucked up thing as well, where it's you have to do better. You have to make some shit up. You have to find a way to deal with these things, because sure, maybe for G2 a lot of things were unknown. Is Nico leaving? Is he staying? Which players do we need to change? What do we need to do? So you don't really know what to tell him, but you have to tell him something.
So again, I don't know, there's a counterpoint to this in my brain, and that is just, at the end of the day, if you sign a contract and the contract explicitly says you can be benched at any time, and when you're benched you get a reduction in your salary, and it's then up to us whether or not we sell you for a buyout or just simply keep you benched and don't play you. I just don't get, all players know exactly what they're signing up to. And these guys, JKS especially, get exorbitant salaries. At one point, JKS will have been in the top 10 paid players in the world, if not the top 5. When he was at Complexity, his salary was insane. And so I don't get why, once again, won't somebody think of the players? It's dude, you're a player. It's a performance-based industry. If at any time an org wants to cut you, you're on that bench. And whether or not they ghost you, it doesn't really matter. They're under no obligation to sell you whatsoever. And so, look, let's also just add some little spice on the fucking hot dog, right? Let's put some hot sauce on it. If JKS is this great, lovable dude who does everything he's told, why would you ghost him? Why would it be difficult to communicate with him? Why would they do that? Seems weird. Why would they want to cut him in the first place? If he's because according to Reddit, he's the best player ever, right? So Reddit obviously sees something that not even Nico, Munacy, Hunter, those guys are morons in the eyes of the average Redditor. So why are they doing it? And so nobody can really answer that. It's, again, he cannot fail. He can only be failed. That's just the objective argument you're sort of left with. I also sort of reject the idea that it was like a particularly long time. Like, if you go to when the original report came out, it was November 9th, okay? G2 bench JKS, sources. And it was HLTV and Nell. Both said that this was definitely genuine, definitely something that was happening. And then it was official on the 21st of November. There it is. Nexa returns to G2. So essentially, not even 2 weeks is the problem. Like, what difference happens in 2 weeks? Like, what team is he going to get to in 2 weeks? Like, that, what opportunity has he missed in that 11-day span that I'm not aware of? Because I know Reddit keeps saying, oh, he's going to go to FaZe. Spoiler, he's not going to FaZe. Or that, he could play for the best team in the world. Somebody, Vitality must sign him. Again, if JKS is so good, guys, why did Vitality sign Mezzi? You don't think they would have heard the same stuff behind the scenes? It's so weird, guys. I just don't get it. I just don't know Reddit's angle with this particular player. It's like, it's so crazy to me. But anyway, needless to say, rather than sort of take a balanced view of the situation, Reddit was straight in, believing absolutely whole cloth everything Chad had said, which again, I don't think that's a benefit Kassad would have had. If Kassad had said, oh, well, Nico said this, or Nico did that, or G2 did this, or G2 did... They go, you're just a biased hater. You're on Nico's dick, but I guess it's okay to be on JKS's dick. My bad. So, the fuck is G2 doing? They have 20 support staff and no one can reply to the guy. What if he didn't reach out to all 20 of the support staff? Okay, well, we'll ignore that. That's a silly question, I guess. Nico holds them all hostage. That's why. Once again, why would Nico do this? Why would Nico do this? This guy, even the Nico salary angle doesn't add up. Why ghost JKS? Why not have a conversation with him about the situation and offer for him to stay, but at a lower salary himself? It seems clear they just wanted the guy out and ousted him, seemingly in the poorest way possible. Now, again, you might have to start asking yourself some difficult questions, Reddit. Why indeed? Why indeed? Would they do it that way? Why indeed would they replace him with a seemingly lower quality player? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe your fucking Messiah isn't all he's cracked up to be. Just a thought. That actual people who play with him have decidedly different opinions than fucking Reddit. But, okay. This one thought we were past the point where professionalism in the scene would not allow for management behaviour like this. Haven't you followed what's been going on with, like, fucking evil geniuses, all the nonsense over at fucking Fizz? No, none of that. All right, yeah, my bad. Natal Sapphics chiming in. The real insider. I would imagine most have. It just doesn't go public. Yeah, that's it. That is so unprofessional what Chad said happened, which must unequivocally be true. I feel for JKS. Dude straight getting shafted in this. Then they decide to downgrade, blood capitals, the position to Nexa. Just weird. Hopefully JKS finds a good home that will treat him right. Absolutely terrible behaviour by G2. Bringing in Justin got them tournament wins. And see, now it's not Hooksy. Like before, it's all Hooksy was. Well, you've still got Hooksy. Hooksy's the one winning you the tournaments, Reddit. That's what you said. So, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Hooksy was the real winner, the real brains. Then also, if Sydney was the outlier for Justin being removed, then they can fuck off. Nico and Hunter played like dog shit compared to their usual standards. The only one who was good at the event was Munacy. Are we back in fucking 2016? No, we're definitely not. It would be great if we were, but we're not. JKS and getting fucked over. Name a better... How has this guy ever been fucked over at any point in his career, by the way? Can anyone explain it to me? How JKS has been fucked over in his career. Was playing in a region where he got to cheese his way into majors over and over again because of the way the majors used to be distributed. Played in an org where had so much funding, they could, even despite being an Australian team, go to European events. Played in one of the biggest orgs with one of the weaker teams as a result of 100 Thieves wanting to get into the space. Had a couple of runners-up spot just as they exited. It's not getting fucked over. Ultimately, that's just the nature of the business. You're not getting fucked over there. Team exited. They all knew it was coming. They started playing well at the end. That's an issue in and of itself. Then he gets into complexity. One of the highest paid players in the world. Then just doesn't do anything the entire time he's there. Like, every time he has a good map, Sponge is out there saying, told you JKS back then. We'll just have terrible tournaments to the point where he got benched. And because he was earning so much, they didn't even want to bring him in. It just wasn't worth paying him the full-time salary anymore for what he would bring to the team. I know that. So anyway, then all the management and Jason Lake himself of Complexity are literally meeting people to negotiate a non-buyout for JKS to get them on, so we can get him onto a team. You've got fucking Chad using his influence. He get him on FaZe. He gets on FaZe, wins a tournament with FaZe, and then Reddit memes him into the G2 job. Same as Hooksy. So he gets to play on arguably the biggest esports org in the world, wins 2 trophies, everyone pretends he's a star player, people say he was an MVP, like if you look on Reddit, people are saying he was the MVP, he wasn't, he's never won a single MVP award in G2, guys. Stop gaslighting yourself. That DHL public vote doesn't count, I'm afraid. And now, he's been benched, ghosted for literally weeks, looks to be the span of about 2 weeks. I don't know. Where did he get fucked over, guys, and all of that? Like, he just didn't, did he? Then we have Randy Marsh. My theory. Nico leveraged the Falcons offer to get a higher salary. Prior to Falcons, Nico was asked by G2 to lower his salary. Can't keep JKS on the same salary, so they got Nexa instead. Nico kept things going all the way to the last minute with Falcons, so G2 didn't really know what to tell JKS. Sucks. JKS will land on his feet. All roads lead to Nico again in this theory crafting. Put him in FaZe, treat him well. They're getting frozen, my friend, so he will not be in that team. Retained Nico, and now they don't know how to act. Despicable. I believe we have an emote for that. So sad. All the best, Justin. Scummy org. Dead team. Need to find the strength to switch flares. Fucking babies. People love to be dicks to JKS. The most beloved, overrated player ever to have the fucking game installed. Literally getting to Shroud levels now. It's like ridiculous. Another FaZe JKS there. FaZe minus Twists plus JKS, hopefully. Not even the same player. It's fine. If this is true, then what the actual fucking fuck? JKS removal is a joke. Wow, someone with a brain down here. Sounds like a one-sided story to me. Not only a one-sided story, a one-sided second-hand story. The next part of this as well is, I just want to make it clear that on HLTV Confirmed, Chad did also have to say, I want to make it clear that I didn't say that JKS learned about the move being official from the announcement of Nexa joining. No, you didn't say that. You certainly made it sound like that, though. You certainly went all out to make it sound like that. It's like, say, you just stir up these fucking cretins. It's like so ridiculous. There was another thread, right, which sprung up off the back of this, and it'll sort of be relevant to something that we might be talking about in a little bit. Sad for Oceania, with JKS and Sexter benched from their own respective orgs. We have no more players in top 30 representing the region. Sad times. I hope with the first player change of CS2, we will see a stronger return in 2024. We need someone to chant, yeah, the boys, and we need top 30 Oceania so we can make Perth Major or Sydney Major come true. This thread has all the, like, for all Australians are like, oh, you can have a sook about it, you can't. You can have a sook about it, you can't. They are the most fragile losers in the collection of losers that is the CS fan base. They are the daughter fans of CS. Not because they're smart or intelligent, because they're entitled and insufferable. So I don't even really know where to go with this one, because I'm not sad for Oceania. In fact, I might go so far as to say that maybe your region is just fucking shit. It's got reasons for being shit. But you can't say you guys haven't had opportunities. You've had some of the best fucking sponsorships. You've had people literally sponsoring you artificially because of the way the majors used to work. You've been flown out to Europe en masse. Like every good tier 1 player that Australia has produced has either been flown to Europe or America to live and or practice. And yet, what have you got to show for it? You've been slowly going backwards. You haven't built anything at all. You know, are we going to really pretend Dexter didn't get fucking loads of opportunities? He should never have had the Fnatic gig based on what he did in Mouse anyway, right? And then this idea that there should ever be an Australian major, what is that predicated on, guys? You are a small market region in a shit time zone where there's no financial upside for external regions coming into your region. Right? Like, there's no reason to do that at all. There's no reason for an Australian major. It's a joke. Like, basically, their criteria is just because if you point a camera at an Australian CS fan, they will fucking debase themselves in any way imaginable by, like, drinking beer out of a fucking shoe or dabbing or holding up an offensive sign or calling someone a wanker. Like, just because you're all attention whores, you think we should have a major in your country. What do we get out of that? What's the money? Yeah, but think of the atmosphere. How does atmosphere translate to money for the fucking company that you want to come all the way to Australia with all of their kit, ship all of that out, set it all up, give you big screens, give you a nice stage setup, all of that. So you can come in and, yeah, he's a wanker. Oh, his camera's at me. Quick, get me my shoe. It's like, that doesn't make anyone any money. And if Australia was some sort of fucking booming, like, market worth going into, like China, you know what I mean, where there's, like, an upside financially, even if there's a huge downside ethically, it makes sense, because that was the other thing people were arguing about, going, they're going to have a major in China, and China's in the same time zone as Australia, so, yeah, I wonder what the fucking difference is between the single largest esports economy or a bunch of cunts drinking beer out of shoes. I wonder what the difference is. Fucking hell. So, no, fuck your Sydney major. I hope it never happens. If it does, it's a sign that we're really underwriting the worst that esports has to offer. But of course, because JKS has dropped, we all have to feel sad for the whole region. My JKS is gone. Doesn't end there. Of course, we did have G2 made their first post JKS outing today, and the world waited with bated breath. They took on the mighty Fluxo, and they beat them 2-1. And there it is. Those are the stats. Now, Nexa didn't do too well on Nuke. He only got 13 kills. Right? But as you'll see, if you want to look at where Nexa is, he's got 13, so he's outfragged everyone but Munacy on Inferno. He got 13 again in the loss, which was more than Hunter, but second from bottom. And on Ancient, he got 8, so he matched Hooksy. But it's okay because everyone else popped off, because that's how G2 works. And then overall, there he was, playing at a 1.0 level, practically 0.98, which, as you might recall, although you might not, that was the level JKS was pretty much performing at when they cut him. So, now, HLTV, I think some Redditors have created HLTV accounts. Because, while that was going on, even though G2 won the series, the JK sexuals were out in force. The JK sexuals, JKS would have won Nuke. JKS Nuke Masterclass. How many times did Nex fall off ramp instead of killing all of them? At least G2 know their real worth and play CCT. And then somebody pointed out, over the last 6 months, JKS had a 0.97 rating. And then he goes, if you want to cherry pick stats, then I can do that as well. And so he did. And he said JKS 1.62 Nuke rating. Now, the stats he linked to prove his argument don't help him. Because we just saw Nexa on 0.98. And yet, if we go to, like, these are the last few games JKS had on Nuke against pretty weak opposition, 0.84 against 99. There's that 1.62 that he linked to. It was against Ents. 0.92 against Astralis, 0.96 against EG, 0.68 against FaZe, 0.87 against Vitality, 1.01 against Imperial, 0.89 against Vitality. We're as back as far as May there. Obviously still in CSGO. So, I don't even know. But that's where we're at. JKS would have won Nuke, guys. He would have won it. There was also this. JKS Lamowing at home by Giga Chad Brain. 1-12 against Bronzillians. At least now Hooksy has an opponent to compete in bottom fragging, referring to Nexus score at 1 point on Nuke. I don't know, guys. Maybe the obsession with JKS is getting out of hand. Like, I don't know. Maybe you've got to move on and fucking realize he's just a normal player. Nothing fucking special about him, and there's a reason why he's getting cut from teams in the manner within which he's been cut. But I don't know. You're probably not ready for that.